In this final episode, we're going to spend a little time at the California Hawking Club banquet and hear some final reflections from the Falconers about their hopes and coming challenges for the future of the sport. We're also flying with Keith one last time as the 2025 hunting season winds down and the birds go into molt. Do you want some water? Are you good?
I'm good. I've got water here.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah, so first off, could you just introduce yourself? Tell me how long you've been doing falconry for.
Well, my name is Jeff Blauer, and I started my adventures in falconry about 1969. My first experience with the birds was as, I don't know, I was probably 6 or 8 years old with my parents in San Diego area. And we were walking down a boardwalk at Pacific Beach, and I noticed there were 2 falcons sitting on block perches, and I was mesmerized. My parents kept walking and didn't realize I had lagged behind, and then noticed I wasn't there, so they came back, tried to drag me away, and it was like they're trying to pull a stake out of the ground. I had a thing about flight.
What do you mean?
Just their ability to fly. I mean, I used to have dreams when I was a kid of flying, and it just, so being able to watch the birds, you could kind of do that vicariously through the birds. Well, I would take a train from San Diego to LA. My brother lived down in San Diego, so I'd go and visit him. And as I'd take the train, I'd sit in the train cars or stand between the train cars with the window open, and we'd count birds of prey along the path. And I would keep in my head a running count of how many kestrels I saw, how many Cooper's hawks I saw, how many red tails I saw. I was just fascinated with them. And then my next experience was running into someone that was flying a kestrel on sparrows at a McDonald's. And when I saw that, I saw the bird come out and go after the sparrows, and it kind of had me hooked. I was very interested, and so I shot out of the car and went to start to ask him questions, and that was in early 1970. And I've been picking his brain ever since.
Who's that?
That's Dave Cherry.
I have a fox hunt. You know what that is? We put 10 transmitters out there, and I think that would be fun. I mean, what do you guys think? Okay? You have no idea how hard it is, and how, I mean, I'm talking to my friend today, Paul, here, and he came up down here from Washington to fly with us. And you guys saw his super black crow thing flying over today. And he said he couldn't eat breakfast, couldn't eat lunch, couldn't do nothing. He's going to throw up in his mouth. So he's so nervous. Okay, so it's really hard. And everybody that competes, that's how serious it is. Third place, me. That would be yeah, I mean, it's pretty. I mean, it's all about excuses. But I crashed my truck a month ago, and I only flew my bird a couple times. But that's how we always have to have an excuse. Second place, Paul. Very nice looking bird. First place, Chris Starr. Come and see me, and we'll have I got a prize for you. And then Chris, you get to make the shirts next year. No, that's always a challenge, but at least we know we'll sell a couple. Okay? So anyway, if there's like, you guys have any questions, like this is my last year doing this. But whoever does it next year, I'll be happy to help them. And I can get prizes. I don't know why I call somebody and they just give me prizes. It's pretty, and oh yeah.
What do you think you got it for? Like anything specifically this past year?
July.
Well, we work with a lot of apprentices and try to bring them up to a new, a bigger standard, a higher standard, and then we give them the resources to go as far as they want to go.
Yeah. But you didn't have any apprentices this past year, did you?
Not this last year, but I've got a new one now. Her name is Sonia. You're not leaving. Okay. Put it in the ice box. Your car.
The ice box. I was so tired there.
What do you say we get back down here and see what's going on?
Yeah, I think you're right.
What about like carrying on the art and the passing down the torch? Do you feel that falconry is a dying art or dying sport, like they say?
Oh gosh, no. I mean, it's going to wane. It wax and wane. In areas. I mean, but right now falconry is in a renaissance. We're at a peak of falconry right now. That hasn't been rivaled, in our lifetimes. So, with the technology and the available for captive breeding and, the telemetry and stuff, falconry has really gotten a chance to kind of push beyond the envelopes of just, about the old days, So,
how do you feel about that visibility?
well, like I said, I want us to be represented in a fair light, okay? Do I want to see more falconers in the world? Not particularly. Not unless I want to see people who are really driven to do falconry be the ones who do falconry, not looky-loos and pet keepers and people who are going to debase a beautiful bird. I don't want to see hawk molesters, pet keepers. I want to see people who are like doing it upright, okay?
I don't know why people say it's a dying sport, because the numbers are going up. But the thing is, like I said, the numbers that are going up are not the organic falconers. They're the TikTok falconers.
And social media has been probably a bigger detriment than it's been help, because you get a lot of people that want to jump up on social media with a bird and look at me. And that's not falconry. But you have to obtain a falconry license through the state to possess the birds and to work with the birds. And once they get that permit, then they think they're scot-free so they can do whatever they want to do. But what they're really doing is killing the future of falconry, because there's a lot of antis out there that really don't want to see hunting at all. They don't want to see people interacting with animals at all. So when they see all this on social media, it gives them a lot of ammunition. Fish and Wildlife does not like seeing things of this nature on social media. In fact, they just rewrote the rehabilitation regulations, and there are stipulations in there. You are not allowed to post pet-like pictures of these birds or depictions of these birds on social media. And if you do, they'll remove your permit. In 20 years, I see the potential for falconry to be removed by the state altogether.
It's on its way out because game is going away. For longwings we have ducks and upland game, and sage grouse, pheasants, sharptail. Well, sage grouse may be gone in 5-6 years. With all the habitat fragmentation for these prairie chickens and prairie grouse, that's going to lower their numbers. So that I do think is disappearing. I mean, as we get more people, there's less land. I mean, I came from Texas with, I think it's like 1% public land, the rest of it's all private. So to hunt in Texas, I've got to get permission from landowners. Whereas the guys, Idaho, Wyoming, Utah, always have public land, but the game is disappearing. I mean, depending on the type of bird you fly, and how you fly your birds, I mean, there's guys that want 1,000-foot pitches. That's great. But if you have a 1,000-foot pitch, you better have a big open space, because that cone that they have is huge. So they could catch something 3-4 miles away or 500 yards away. Well, in Texas, 500 yards is somebody else's land. And so going on somebody else's land to pick up a duck, could be considered poaching. So I didn't bring the pitch down, so I stay within the confines of where my permissions are. So yeah, I mean, it's the style of falconry changes.
We have the largest group of falconers in the nation. There's an awful lot of falconers in California, and I have an awful lot of them in my general vicinity. They're all concerned because they're all seeing the same places that I saw disappear.
Yeah.
But with the lack of habitat and progress, as they call it, with all this building of things and tearing out, open areas and building shopping complexes, it's going to be real challenging for the next generation.
As a falconer, I have a hawk, and a hawk is a predator. And being his partner makes me a co-predator with my hawk, okay? And hawks are very territorial. And as long as there's plenty of territory and game to go around, I can get along with other falconers just fine. But it's when the resource is diminishing and there's not as many places to fly the hawks and there's not as much game, then it becomes you just become more of a competitor, not necessarily even a friendly one. So as long as I have enough space where my territories are, I don't feel like I feel defensive where I need to guard my territories from other people, then I'm fine with it. I love other falconers. But when they start showing up in my fields and disturbing the game, I manage my fields. I don't fly the same spot every day. If I fly a spot, I'll give it a rest so that the game there doesn't get bent out of shape and start flying over to another field. So I try to manage what I would call slips, the places where we fly our hawks, so that they're sustainable. So if you were to ask me, how do I feel about having more falconers in the world? I'm like, it's great as long as they're not as long as it's not in my backyard. So that's just the honest truth of it,
Is he doing Cache Creek with him? Mm-hmm. Oh, nice.
He's using him and Webb and BB. So I grew up in West Marin. The house that I grew up in, my great-grandfather built, and when I was growing up, my mom would get out of the house and don't come back until it's too dark to see. I can remember being really young and walking from the store back to the house, which is only half a mile. But the way the water would run down, it would create these little cliffs, and then they get little rocks and moss on them. So you could look at it, and that was like this whole cliff city that was there. And so all of a sudden, I'm not 5 feet tall, I'm an inch and a half tall, and just living in this place of my imagination. And I feel I was very, very fortunate to be able to have that, to be able to utilize my imagination. Because I think sometimes it doesn't happen for a lot of kids.
Do you think that we're in danger of being disconnected to that kind of life and attenuation to nature?
Of course. Yeah, we're all caught up in our phones and all that horse shit, and consumerism and just the material, making money and, keeping, food on the table and all that. We're just doing what everything else is doing, but we're just doing it to the exclusion of everything else. And so I like to realize that, maybe I've got a little bit more awareness and of my surroundings than a lot of people do, because I see it in a lot more detail than most people do.
Why is that important at the end of the day?
Well, it keeps me grounded. Okay, that's the key I want. All right, this is called Barefoot, and this is a tune I made up years ago. I would took all these little odds and ends of guitar licks and movements that I was working on at the time. I didn't know anything about music theory yet. And this is one of my first little compositions, and it really boils down to me. My cousin and I, we used to get together, and our moms would argue with each other about who was the better kid. They'd put us heel to toe, and see who was taller and stuff. It's like the big competition between the sisters to see whose kid was better, Anyway, so while they were squabbling about that, Ricky and I would disappear, and we'd go around the corner, and there was a creek called Tampa Creek in Southern California in the San Fernando Valley where we grew up. And we'd go hiking down the creek past the eucalyptus grove, and there was like this rusted out old Chevy with, you know, bullet holes in it and stuff, and plants growing out of the ashtrays and this and that, and half covered in leaf litter. We get down past the trees down to the creek, and we'd take our shoes off and our socks off, and we'd hike up the creek barefoot. And we look for pollywogs and water spiders and reptiles and, you know, whatever we could find. And that's how we grew up together every weekend. So this is a song that reminds me that I call it Barefoot. Okay. Here we go.
One of the reasons I do what I do and teach is because I want to keep the art alive. So I want to teach about my relationship with the bird. The falconers, every time we fly our bird, we let them go. It's a choice-based relationship. That bird chooses to come back. And it's such a great way to get back to nature. And that's really why what my whole thing is with falconry, is to help conserve nature, help conserve the birds, and help maintain this art, this sport, this virus. I'm feeding the virus, that's it.
For some reason, when this gets into your blood, so to speak, when you're younger, it just becomes part of who you are. Take it away from any one of us, and we're not complete.
What does falconry mean to me? I don't. What does your foot mean to you? What does your arm mean to you? It's just part of your body. It's part of you. It gives you a degree of fulfillment, whether you're a musician or an artist or a photographer or a sculptor or whatever. There's something that you love doing, and you just do it, and it gives you pleasure.
Well, do you care? Do you care about a legacy?
I kind of do and I don't. You know, I've had a number of people that I love very dearly who have passed on. And when I experience that happening, I feel as though there is like an indescribable, excruciating closeness right after they pass. I feel like they're inside me with me. I can feel them in my heart, closer than if they were alive even. And I feel this juxtaposition between knowing that I'll never see them again and yet feeling them excruciatingly closely at the same time. And when those two feelings combine, it just sends me into these waves of grief. And that's how I experience it. And what I've come to understand is that when we move on into the hearts of the people that love us. You know, I've got an old guitar teacher of mine. His name is Ted Green, great guitar player. I learned a lot about harmony and chord progressions, and when chords move certain ways, they speak an emotional language. And when I'm running through these chord progressions and moving through them and having these feelings, I can feel Ted. I can feel him. And he's like smiling because he loved that same stuff too. People who carry on after us carry us forward in their hearts and their thoughts. And when they're doing the things that we love to do, somehow it's a form of carrying you forward. Somehow I'll be able to live through the falconers in the future as they're out there doing this stuff, when they kind of like, you know, experience something. You know, I'll be able to, I'll be smiling.
Okay. Should do it. Yeah, that should be good enough. You have a problem with that? No? Would you like to be having a problem with that? Hop on in.
No.
I think I have room back there.
This is
what?
Fun.
Is this fun?
This is fun.
Is it? Are you having fun yet, John?
Yeah, this reminds me of the good old days.
Mm-hmm. Yep. When the trucks were like that much smaller.
Oh, like a bird on the crossbars of my Schwinn Stingray.
Yeah, I used to have a Schwinn Stingray with a little. It was like a gold metal flake one with a big banana seat on it.
Oh no, I had the single seat.
It was just like the most ornate, stupid-looking thing you've ever seen.
Did you have the reflector on the big?
Oh yeah, bar? All of it. Yeah, the sissy bar. Yeah, oh yeah. And it had a little shock absorber on the front. Oh yeah. Not a very big field, but it'll be fruitful at some point. There he is, right there. So you can hook up to the telephone pole. Yeah. Let me get out for a second here. That may be my old buddy. I'll know in a second. Yeah. Give me a second here. Hop up.
Oh, that's somebody new.
Definitely not bingo. Okay, keep your eye on him, Johnny.
Got it.
Let me just get the car off the road here. It's too thick, but we'll fly it anyways and get it over with. Yeah, right. This is, no, this is the real deal.
Also to survive it. Right?
It's like flying my own little dragon out here, going after the peasants. You did good. You scared them really good, huh? I've had this amazingly lucky falconry life. I flew birds for years with no telemetry, merlins, and they always came back looking for me. And they're not hungry particularly, but something about their nature and about my relationship with them turned into this kind of like a fairy tale falconry life. And I've had that kind of luck. And I just kind of trust in something bigger than I can put into words. And when I do, it's like whatever that is, however you want to label it or personify it or deify it or reduce it to something measurable, it is what it is. And so I just kind of, I guess you could say, I kind of lead with my heart that way.
Yeah, so I consider falconry a bit of a disease because it's a little bit like alcoholism. There's some people that can be functional alcoholics and other ones that can't. And I find that falconry, if you can be a functional falconer where your family stays intact and everything's fine, and then if you're just over the edge, you kind of lose it and families break up. But some people are completely obsessed with it. And it's not something that you choose, it's just something that's in your genes. And a friend of mine said that Genghis Khan conquered the world and he spread his seed across the world. So all of us falconers probably have a little genetic material from Genghis Khan. That's why we're falconers.
I'm not really sure because I don't know really where this is all going to go. Basically what you expect when you come out to watch falconers is everything goes haywire on you.
And they're all screaming like little girls, and the shrike grabs this kid by the earlobe. It's hanging on it like this. And these kids were just fucking losing their shit.
Thanks for watching this episode. If you want to follow more of my work, subscribe to my channel. If you want to support my content, you can find my Patreon link in the description below. With a Patreon membership, you'll get access to more episodes, behind the scenes content, and you can watch my first documentary, Here Falcon. Those are cool perks, but honestly, you're just supporting creators like me so I can go out and do my thing. If you want to support falconry, bird, and habitat conservation, you can find links to organizations in the description below. Thank you for supporting falconers and indie creators.